Our spending habits are more than just money. They're connected to our emotions, past experiences, and honestly, the way that we see ourselves. So if you feel like you're always spending more money than you intend to, then this video is for you. So let's face it, right? We've all been in that situation where you're scrolling online. You know, I'm an online shopper myself. I love the online shopping. Or you go into a store because you just want to pop in really quickly and see what's out on the floor. And suddenly, you find yourself drawn to an item. You picture how it fits into your life. You see it in your wardrobe. You see yourself wearing that outfit, wearing those clothes, wearing that thing. Makes your life magically better. And when you really think about it, our spending habits aren't really rational, right? Outside of the fact that we have all these psychological tactics being played on us to get us to spend in general, they're using those psychological tactics knowing fully well it's going to hit a certain maybe insecurity, pain point, fear, hope, dream, whatever it is that the marketing is going for, that's exactly what they know they're going to be hitting. And so if emotions are behind the purchases, so whether it's boredom, stress, or a desire to feel good in that moment, the marketing works and knows exactly which emotion it's going to play on, and it knows how to get you to save it into a cart, all of that fun stuff, okay, to click and to buy, right? But as someone in therapy, right, the more you ignore the things that you really need to be doing, the things you really need to be focusing on, those emotional triggers, and you think you're going to lock it away for a future day, somewhere in the future where you're going to deal with all your problems, the more it shows up in different things, right? When I was shopping the most was when I was the most stressed. It went hand in hand because it felt like a good way to relieve my stress. And in the long run, obviously that's not what it's doing. But in that moment, that's what it felt like, right? Because the emotion was anxiety, stress, whatever it may be. And then the release was, oh, I'm going to get this thing and it's going to create a dopamine. It's going to give me, and as you know from my other video, right? There are two levels of dopamine you get. You get it the moment you put it in your cart, especially on online shopping, the moment you put it in your cart, and then also when you receive that item. So you're getting two dopamine hit rather than maybe going to the store, finding it, and taking it home with you. So there are those things that then you become reliant on and keeps you going back for more. And the cycle, it keeps going until we have all these pile of things that we don't need, that don't fit us. It's all part of our lifestyle. They're not good materials. They're not good quality. It ripped. And that's where that conversation now starts to play in, right? You don't realize it, but emotional spending, the treat yourself syndrome, like I like to call it. You can also call it retail therapy, right? All of those terms, just buying something on sale or buying something just because, it's often a coping mechanism. That's exactly what I just talked about. I felt stressed, so I would buy this thing to feel dopamine, to feel better. Coping mechanism. And that only happens for moments where we feel like life is out of control. I tend to shop. So when you feel out of control or disconnected or this, that, and the other, some emotion will start to be tied to it. And a lot of times we now tie spending to a way to relieve that. Because again, that's what we've been taught, but also because it also feels good. Like, let's be real, it feels good. That's why you do it. But, big but. Like, think about it. How many times have you treated yourself after a really stressful day at work? You decide you're going to order it. Been there, done it, right? Or maybe you did get a promotion or win at work. Again, now you're going to go out to happy hour and spend more money. Been there, done that too. Because we're taught that if something nice happens or if something bad happens, you should still treat yourself. Like, we're not dogs. We don't need to reward ourselves with spending more money, but that's how we've been trained to. And yes, it feels good at that moment. We're not really, though, addressing the deeper things that are lying underneath the surface that's causing us to spend that money. And it's not about the act of spending, it's underneath that decision. Our culture obviously encourages instant gratification. And over time, these behaviors become habits. We do them over and over and over and over enough that we don't even realize we're doing something wrong in the first place, or something that we shouldn't be doing, or something that we don't need to partake or have as part of our lifestyle. And it's become a lifestyle cost. And it's like eating away at literally your budget and your money. And these are real things. And you may not realize how much these emotional triggers are influencing you to buy things that may not align with your goals. Okay? You've been on my channel before. Do you know maybe what I used to do content about? Because I love to spend money. I did. And well, at least when I was stressed, those were the things that I would, this is gonna, I'm hitting this milestone of my certain age and work and this and that. And, doing a lot more and this, the trap. Let's talk about the consequences. It's very easy So easy. The emotional spending obviously is going to lead to buyer's remorse, because when you get it, you're like, why did I buy this? How am I really going to wear this? This is probably just going to sit in the back of my closet like everything else that I bought, that I don't use all of this stuff all the single time or every day of my life. And eventually financial stress, because you are buying things you don't necessarily even need anyway. Then you're maybe donating to give it to someone. It's not even being used. So now when you really think about it, the cost is not really effective and really adding more environmental impact, right? We talked about the dumping and the trash piles and the clothes mountains. And over time, the behavior, creates that habit. It's a cycle. Constantly do something over and over again, you've not created a habit. You're locked into this thing where you have to spend to temporarily feel good, but then you feel bad, but you realize you've gone and spent money, and then you over budget or worse, accumulate debt. And that's what we see. That part is big right now, right? PayPal's the pay in for and pay as you go, right? All this pay as you go app, debt. And they're not reporting now to your credit bureau. So people had it good where they weren't reporting. Now that's happening. That's the reality of where we're moving. And the cycle can be draining not only on your finances, but on their mental health. You accumulate the debt, you feel stressed. You feel stressed about accumulating debt and you go spend money to go into more debt. Do you not see the cycle? And if you keep repeating the cycle, it will prevent you from building wealth, building financial freedom, whatever that means for you. Because those things are also habits that you have to get into. The habits of building wealth and financial freedom and all the other things that come with that, right? But what if you stop the cycle? What if you could take control of this impulse buys before it happened? I know I did. So what if you could do it too? That's where something as simple as tracking your spending, like the impulse spending tracker that I created, can really change the game. By writing down every purchase and then reflecting on why you bought it, the emotions that you were feeling when you made that purchase, you start to see patterns emerge. You will also start to see, okay, what are things that I can do in this moment that can take me away from this impulse buy? Maybe I can come back in 24 hours. Maybe that's something that works for this moment. Maybe I could just put it in my cart. I've talked about the 30-day rule. Maybe I can do that. Maybe it is so intense that I am so stressed out. Maybe what I need to do is listen to music, a distraction. That's another one, right? Because are you shopping because you're stressed? Are you shopping because you're happy? Are you shopping because it's all of the above? Because everything is a reward system that's been catered around spending. All our holidays are centered around spending. It's all a way to create revenue and profit for the economy. Are you trying to fill an emotional void? That's real too. But breaking the cycle starts with awareness. You can't stop something you don't even know about. And then obviously the research and all the further things that you have to do. First step is understanding your triggers. Like I said, those triggers that lead you to make that impulse buy, you have to know what they are and how you feel in those moments, even whether it's happiness or sadness or stress or anxiety or whatever it is, right? And that's where something like a spending tracker comes in handy. By tracking your purchases for the next 30 days, you can identify patterns where you tend to overspend, what emotions are tied to those purchases, because the key is mindfulness. If you know those places where you tend to slip, you can know how to stay away from those moments or how to curb the feelings that you get in those moments. And before you make a purchase, ask yourself, do I really need this? If you're buying a piece of clothing, remember I told you, is it fitting with at least 3 things I already have in my closet right now? I don't have to buy any extra thing to add to this piece of clothing that I'm buying just so I have a complete outfit. How does this purchase align with my values? Is this a company that maybe they litter like crazy and they're super fast fashion? Is this clothes actually have quality? Is this thing gonna last me? You'll be surprised how many decisions you walk away from just by asking those simple questions and just taking that moment to pause. Taking the moment to pause is the biggest thing. So let's talk about practical steps you could take to start shifting your mindset around money. Here are my top 3 tips to break the cycle of emotional spending. Like I said, track your spending. This is huge. It's actually like the biggest thing ever, obviously. Use a spending tracker or a budgeting app, whatever you find works for you. I mentioned what I talked about in my tracker, but you can find anything that works for you and log every single purchase you made. First, you want to log so you have a baseline. I always say don't judge yourself because it's easy to say, oh my God, so bad at all of the stuff that you don't even take the step. You're taking the step. Congratulate yourself. You're doing amazing already. Like, that's great. Because the more you see the numbers and how your spending aligns with your goals, the more you make mindful decisions. And number 2, pause before you make a purchase. Take a moment. Ask yourself before that purchase, do I need this right now? Is this fitted with stuff that I already have in my closet? Is this something that I will value tomorrow, in a year, in 3 years from now? Do I actually see myself wearing this thing in 5 years from now? That pause is the space between that spending and that emotion that you're feeling. Number 3 is finding alternative ways to cope. If you're buying to cope with boredom or stress, find other outlet. Go for a walk. Find a hobby. Shift the attention. Gamify saving rather than spending. Even journaling. Just putting down that thought like I was subscribed from some places today, or I actually painted for 15 minutes rather than shopping and updating my list on Amazon. Something that's simple. Because finding something that nurtures your well-being really grows you as a person without tapping into your finances. So if you're tired of feeling stuck in the cycle of emotional spending, start by using the impulse tracker that I created for you. It's free and it will help you see exactly where your money is going and why. The emotion is tied to those moments. You can grab it in the link below. And don't forget to subscribe to my newsletter. I share exclusive tips, guides, and tools to help you make mindful money and lifestyle decisions. And don't forget to check out my other video on why we have more stuff but less satisfaction. And until next time, bye.